Welcome back, everybody, to the board for another FIBA World Cup stream here. And we've been doing content like this all through the tournament, and we have some more shows coming your way. Make sure, as always, to drop a like if you are enjoying any of the content, cashing along with the picks. And please make sure you are subscribed to the channel as well so you stay up to date with all of the content. And today, we have the quarterfinals that we are getting ready for, and some very big games, and competition becomes a little bit stiffer. Pips, before we get into the official picks for today's show, how do you think that the more difficult matchups are going to affect betting throughout the rest of this tournament?
Yeah, I will just see some players that were scoring a lot in the garbage time will get less minutes, less scoring. Main players will take over. Canada and USA played best players lower minutes, and now for semifinals and finals they will be heavy on the best players. So yeah, it'll change a lot for a lot of teams. So we'll see a lot difference.
At this point, we really have a good sample size of all of the players, but maybe we don't have the greatest sample size when we see them against higher levels of competition, better defenses. But even still, the World Cup has been a very successful venture here on the channel. 11-5 record so far, which gives us a great amount of profit here. Nothing really to recap here. The previous stream was so long ago that we don't need to go through all of the specifics there. But unfortunately, it was the first losing day of the tournament. We are 2-1 or 1-2, on that Thursday. But an opportunity here to bounce back and add on to the 11-5 record. Also, because we're not doing shows every day, Pips has been giving out picks on his own Twitter account, and those have been successful as well. So let's get into the recap. Let's get into the official picks that we have today, and then Pips will take a sec to go through all of the numbers that he has here. So first of all, we're going to Dennis Schroeder, loves FIBA ball. We're going with the over 19.5 points for -120 at BetMGM. Then, secondly, we're going to be going to my Canadians. We're take Kelly Olynyk over 10.5 points for -128 at FanDuel. And finally, we're going to be daring a little bit here and go to a Luka Doncic under as Slovenia take on those Canadians for -105 at
I'll
Betway.
also say he's 29.5 at Bet365, but it's plus 115. So that should work too. Like plus 115 at point lower is still fine for Luka Doncic.
And by catching the show live, you have the opportunity to get these numbers at their best price. As always, if you don't have any of these sportsbooks available to you, we highly encourage you to be line shopping for all of these bets and every bet you make. And you can do that by going to the Bet Stamp link in the description or using the QR code that is in the top right corner of the stream. Sign up to as many sportsbooks that you have at your disposal in your region to make sure you're always getting the best possible price in your wagers. And you can tail the picks just like this one. First of all, Dennis Schroeder at BetMGM over 19.5 points. What do you like about Dennis Schroeder specifically for this matchup against Latvia?
So far in the tournament, Germany played only 2 competitive games. One ended up not competitive as we thought against the Slovenia. So first game was competitive game was from the group stage where he played against Australia. Australia at that point was still starting tie ball, and Dennis Schroeder scored 30 points easily. 30 points from Dennis Schroeder, and he played 35 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something we can expect in the next game. The line is, I expected the line to be higher, but they're probably expecting Franz Wagner to be back, and he's doubtful. And even if he's playing, I expect some lower usage from his side and lower minutes, especially in the game where Germany could win pretty comfortable. I think the spread is 9.5, and I think they could win by double digits. So, yeah. And next game that was against decent opponent was against Slovenia. It turns out that it was a blowout, 30-point win by Germany. And Dennis Schroeder in that game scored 24 points. So he scored 24 without playing last 6 minutes of the game. And in the first half, he had, I don't know, it went viral, but he had disagreement with the coach. And then coach benched him for like additional 5 minutes. And he still covered this line in a blowout. So against Slovenia, he scored 24 points in 25 minutes. As I said, I expect 35 tonight. No one on this Latvia team to actually guard him. They don't have any great rim protection. They are just playing to outscore the opponent. And as I said, it's FIBA. Schroeder one of the best players at the tour, and I think 20 points for him in this important game is should be no problems.
Yeah, as much as Germany are favored, these games have still been very competitive. Regardless, Latvia have maintained competitiveness. Like even if this does go like beyond that 9.5 point spread, like Latvia are going to be playing a real tough game here, and he should get all the minutes that we need for this bet. So love this spot here. Also love the spot here on Kelly Olynyk. We got some Canadians in action here, some Canadians watching as well. Pump for Canada. Really, really strong showing for Canada and qualified for the Olympics, which is great to see. But why are we going with Captain Canada, Kelly Olynyk, to go over 10.5 points with the juice here?
So the first thing about Kelly Olynyk, so first game against the France, best defense of the tournament, best defense of any opponent on the tournament. On the before the game against Spain, he scored 18 points with foul trouble.
And we had the
Then,
over there.
yeah, and then a game against Lebanon, only 17 minutes, 50 point spread win, still covered with 12. Against Latvia, 15 points. Then two consecutive poor shooting games against Brazil, only scored 9 points, so one field goal away from covering. He shot 2 for 8. And then next game against Spain, he was 2 for 7 with foul trouble and low minutes. In this matchup, I expect so Slovenia don't have anyone to guard Shea, so they'll probably need to send help on Shea, which will help Kelly to be open and to be more involved in the game. So I think great matchup for him, low line for him, could be competitive, so he could play the great minutes. So I just love this line for Kelly, and he has a very big size advantage on the power forward position. So I think he could get to the line. He will get wide open threes because on help. Yeah, just perfect game for Kelly to score over 10.5 points.
Yeah, playtime was a problem against Spain for Olynyk. Number one, like we talked about, the foul trouble was an issue. Number two, Canada went small ball late in that game. They were down by 12 going into the fourth. They had to try something. They went small. Ended up working, but sacrificed Kelly Olynyk's minutes. Unlikely to see that for this one in such a big game here. So I love the spot as well here. And going to Luka Doncic, who's been sensational in this tournament. And we're going to go under on the points, however. Why are you going to go under here in the matchup against Canada?
So first off, it's FIBA rules. Luka himself said scoring in FIBA competition is more difficult for him. That's the first thing. The second thing is Canada probably has the two of the best guards to go against, wings to go against Luka Doncic, and that's Dort and Brooks. Great size matchup, great strength matchup, great one-on-one defense matchups. So yeah, they can hold by their own against Luka at some point. But I expect Canada to send a lot of help on Luka with great defenders on him, one of the best in the world, and plus getting help because I don't think Canada is afraid of anyone on that roster besides Luka Doncic. So we could see Prepelic and Dragic and yeah, so many players left wide open to help on Luka, and I think with great defenders on him and help and FIBA rules, no defensive 3 point seconds, so they will just wait for him inside, and yeah, a shorter game, the more physical game allowed. So yeah, I think Luka will be somewhere around, but I have him like 25, 26 to 28 points predicted for this game. And also Canada who could just run away from Slovenia. I think Slovenia team is a bit overrated because yeah, I
I
just
don't
don't see
know.
it. For yeah, they don't have anyone again besides Luka to score on consistent, and their defense is terrible. So yeah, I just think Canada could run away
Okay.
from this game.
Okay. I like what I'm hearing as a Canadian basketball fan, of course. Luka Doncic in the past as well has spoken extraordinarily highly about Lou Dort. So
Yeah.
as good as Brooks played against Spain, I think there's potential Dort gets a much bigger role for this one for the Doncic
I just
game.
think after the game against Spain, I think Canada defense will toughen up we saw from USA, like they were terrible in that game against Lithuania, and then they were very committed and zoned in from the first minute today and won
That's
so
true.
easily against Italy. So I just,
Maybe, yeah.
yeah, realizing like teams like Canada and USA again with bunch of NBA
They
players.
got humble. They got humbled.
Yeah, you can
They needed
get
that.
humble and you realize, okay, we are not that better than these teams, so we need to try harder. So
Yeah.
I think some wake up calls last two games for Canada. This is the elimination game, so there no more messing around. So just straight.
Maybe they lucked out with the win for sure. Maybe that was the type of game they needed, though, like you said, to humble themselves and really push on and get locked in. And I mean,
Yeah,
if you're not locked in when you see Luka Doncic in the team,
you
something's
won.
wrong.
You won against Spain with Dylan Brooks going nuts. So if
Yeah.
you are relying on that moving forward, you are cooked. So yeah, I expect them to play way better.
Hey, so Houston Rocket, we were messaging about the game after the fact. If you get that version of Dylan Brooks in Houston, it's going to look like a really good contract, even though maybe it
Yeah.
seems like quite a lot on the outside looking in. So some great games of basketball to take in the next tomorrow for me if you're watching, depending on what time zone you're in. So up very early for myself to be watching this. A nice comfortable afternoon slot for Pips to watch that one. But for the upcoming streams that we want to do on this channel, we're going to be going live for the semifinal Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern time. That's 6 p.m. local time for Pips out in Croatia. Friday, we're going to do our best to try and do a stream, but we need to make sure that the lines are going to be available. So we're going to shoot for, I'd say as of now, 2 p.m. Eastern time to make sure lines are available on that day. That could become earlier, but the games finish probably by 11 a.m. Eastern time. So 3 hours might be enough. If it's not, we'll try to work out a solution. Maybe we can do a Saturday stream, but we'll do our best to make sure we have 2 more streams to cover the semifinals as well as the third place game and the finals of the tournament. So to recap the picks for today's show, apologies. Somebody in the chat mentioned that I should put the accent on top of Dennis Schroeder's name as I have it here, but I don't have it in my graphics, so please spare me. But we're going to go with Dennis Schroeder over 19.5 points for minus 115 at BetMGM. Promise next time I'll add that in. Then we're going to go to Kelly Olynyk over 10.5 points for minus 128 at FanDuel. Sorry, the MGM line was minus 120. Excuse me, correction over there. And for the final bet, it's Doncic under 30.5 points for minus 105 at Betway. If you guys do watch the show live, you can guarantee you're getting the best price. Pips has been absolutely killing it with his World Cup picks. So the lines are steaming extremely quickly. These are also very loose lines where bookies aren't super confident. So they see a lot of action coming in. It's not like NBA lines. They see action, they're going to move it. So coming live to the show, having your notifications on, subscribing to the Board YouTube channel is the best way to make sure you're getting the best possible prices. But Pips, let them know as well. Any picks that aren't on here, they can get on Twitter. Tell them how you can find it.
Yeah, just follow me on Twitter, get notification on because they move quick when I post it because so many people are telling these days. After that hot run, the engagement is sky high. So
Yeah.
when I post the pics, if you are not quick enough to get it in 1 minute or less, you're probably going to miss on them. So I usually post incoming so you can be prepared.
Yeah, sign into
And
the
yeah,
account.
just turn up notification and you'll be good.
One quick thing before we go. Somebody mentioned, you did mention under 29.5 at plus 115 is playable as well on Doncic, but would you also consider a PRA at minus 111 for under 45.5 or stick to the points here?
Stick to the points here, yeah.
Okay.
45 and a half is actually pretty high. So yeah, that should work. But said like
Take those
29
points.
and 45 bets as a half unit bet. So
okay. Good to know. And very good to know Luka 27.5 at other places. So
yeah,
run,
he's
don't walk to that 30.5 line.
yeah, 27 and a half, but he's like minus 170 for over. So
Okay.
yeah, they are just protecting against unders. That's like such a cowardly move to just
That is
yeah.
very much.
Yeah.
But we're line shopping. We're finding the best price at all times. That way we can ensure we're getting that 30.5 line, or even if we have to, the 29.5 at plus money. Thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. Me and Pips will be back on Thursday, hopefully Friday as well, but definitely on Thursday. Let's catch these picks, and we'll see you very soon.